All right, how's it going, Robo Nation? Thank you guys so much. If you're tuning in now, if you're tuning in later, whenever you end up watching this, we are doing our customer interview. This is number 11. So we've done 10 of these so far. They've been a lot of fun. We've met people all over the world doing incredible stuff. Last week we had Robert Horton from Australia. And this week we have a really special guest. We are actually releasing a video with her today. You can see her story and some of the stuff that she's making. So I'm just going to go ahead and bring her on without further ado. Some housekeeping. If you guys have any comments, feel free to write them below. I can bring them up on the screen and we can talk about them or ask our guests about them. So write those, or you can comment if you watch this after the fact and we'll hop on there and we'll answer any questions that you have. All right, without further ado, she's the owner of GT-Moto out of Plano, Texas. They make all sorts of custom motorcycles from cafe racers to bespoke to vintage styles. She started this business out of her garage, I think a few years ago, and now makes some amazing custom machines. So some have raised money for cancer research, and she's just an incredible person. So I'm going to go ahead and bring her in. Her name is Sofia Tsingos. So let's add her to the screen. How you doing?
Hi.
Good to see you. Sound should be working well. If I have any issues with sound, my guy is standing by to let me know, but it sounds good on my end, so hopefully it sounds good for the live audience. All right, so let's dive into this. Can you tell me a little bit about who Sofia Tsingos is? And I heard from watching some of your videos that you obviously build custom motorcycles, but your first kind of experience with motorcycles was when you were a young kid strapped to a gas tank, I believe it was.
Yes.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about you and your story.
Yeah, it was an old BMW. I was still in diapers.
Okay.
And my dad, he had an airplane maintenance shop, and he always had hot rods and bikes in the maintenance shop because there's more room. And he put a little strip of duct tape around me, around the tank, so I wouldn't fall off, and we would just go up and down the runway.
He's like, you're going to be into motorcycles, automotive, everything. And he was making sure of it.
Yeah.
Hey, you got to do what you got to do with the kids,
Yeah. I think
I love
would be in child protective services right now these days. Times were different.
So did you start falling in love with like motorcycles and, automotives and engines and being a gearhead like early on from that moment, or when did that kind of love start developing?
It wasn't really from that moment because I didn't know any different. I didn't really know any different until, kids have their own brains when they're in about, elementary school or just middle school. And I started riding dirt bikes when I was 9. So when I learned how to control it myself, that's when I fell in love with it, because I knew how to control something that, not a lot of little kids would do back then. And that's where it started. I mean, I've always loved old cars and stuff, but it wasn't until I learned how to work them myself is when the love started.
Nice. Did you race motorcycles competitively, or were you more into like kind of the building of them?
I used to love to just ride trails, and the dirt bikes, I just wanted to jump anything that I found. I would even dig my own little jumps in the backyard. And it wasn't until high school I started road racing when I got a street bike. I was on a Ducati. And I realized I'm really not that competitive. I just didn't care. I just enjoyed going fast, and it wasn't until I'm glad I started racing and doing track days, because I found out there's a lot of people that couldn't work on them very well. So I got tired of it constantly breaking, and that's when I was like, you know what, I'll just learn how to do it myself. That's when that started, was when the race bike started breaking.
So you own this company, GT-Moto. When did GT-Moto start? Tell me about the inspiration behind GT-Moto, and also like what you guys specifically do.
We specifically build very custom vintage bikes. We've done some modern ones. We actually do one charity bike a year, so that was our start of it. And the reason why we started on a charity bike was because my dad got diagnosed with lung cancer, and when we got him back from him getting radiation and surgeries and tumors removed, he went from 185 pounds to 130 something. I mean, that's lighter than what I weigh. And so he was fragile, and he's not the kind of person to get better in a hospital. So I would always trying to find him around the house, and I would see him in the garage, and he would just be out there either staring at something, drawing something, or putting a bolt on one of the bikes because that's all he really had strength for. And so that's where we got the idea to just build a bike to get him out of his own head. And that's how GT-Moto started. And a lot of people relate to GT. They see GT and they automatically relate to it because it's Gran Turismo, great race.
Yeah.
It relates to a lot of different things, especially in the automotive industry. But what a lot of people don't know is that GT is actually my dad's initials, George Tsingos. And I named the company after him. And I had to come up with the company name to create an LLC to be able to donate charity money and have it all in one place to give it away.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. How long ago was this?
2013.
This all started 2013. Okay. And now, obviously part of the amazing story is the fact that you guys create motorcycles once a year to be donated to charity, and because of your father, but also, just seeing some of the motorcycles that you made. How many have you guys made up until this point in such a short period of time?
I would have to
over 15, you think?
I think around that number. I mean, we can only make so many a year because there's just us two, and it's my dad part-time because he has his real job, or his full-time job.
Yeah.
And so there's only so much we can do. We usually work on 4 at a time, so we probably do about 4 or 5 a year. And
nice.
when we first started, it was
4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Cool.
So,
cool. Yeah. And if we'll obviously post a link, and for the video we uploaded, we linked to your website as well. You guys got to go check out these bikes there. I mean, they're incredible. And the cool thing about the bikes that you're designing is that they're all like very unique in their own way, right?
We try. Yeah, we try to. I mean, we don't really sleep much. We sleep with a notebook next to our bed so we can just start sketch something, so we're not sitting there hoping that we'll remember in the morning.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I mean, a lot of inspiration comes from other people throughout the years and history of motorcycling and building. But
cool. Yeah, they're pretty incredible. And then, kind of diving into, when did you start? We talked a lot about in the video, my guy went down there and filmed it with you, about kind of the processes you had before you discovered 3D printing, and then, sort of how they changed with 3D printing. But when did you first kind of discover 3D printing?
I actually got a 3D printer for my boyfriend 2.5 years ago. He's an engineer, mechanical engineer, and so he works with 3D printing at his job. But they're like, $500,000 printers that never thought that we would own. And then I started doing my homework, and I came across, Robo 3D, get this one. This one's the easiest. This one's the best one.
Yeah.
The finishes is the best, and it's just all these great reviews. So that's the one I ended up with, was the first one. And he's been working with that one for a while. And then we got the newest one, and he still loves the old one, but it's really cool to be able to have them both side by side to where we can have multiple prints now. And to have it in our house is nice because instead of spending all this money or all this time trying to make it by hand, or paying somebody else, thousands of dollars to just make one part, because custom bike, you only need one. It's not like we need a whole bunch of them. So be able to print it out and have a material that, is good in heat has been incredible. And it just, if we ever do want to prototype something to be able to sell it, it's nice to be able to just do the prototyping ourselves and then go directly to the
injection molding.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that was one thing that was quite unique. When we talk to a lot of people that have their own business and they're building parts within their business, most of them are doing it from a prototyping perspective and then putting them into production. You guys were actually making custom parts and actually placing them on the motorcycles.
Yeah.
As like the final production piece, using things like carbon fiber, PLA, which was just incredible to see. And it's in our video showing one of the pieces that you actually designed. What are some of the pieces that you have designed for the motorcycles?
My favorite piece is a dash for a Ducati, a custom sport classic that we did for a customer of ours. And a lot of people are wanting it, so we might have to be printing a lot more to sell it. But
Nice.
it's kind of also hard for me to want to do that just because when we build bikes, you want it to be custom for that person and it's unique for that person, and that's what they paid for. But
Yeah.
that was my favorite one because it turned out so well, and I got to use the original actual front face of the dash because the original is just it's really thick, and then it's twice as thick as what we did. So this is the outcome of
That's the
it.
piece right there. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the one, I think that's the one that's in the video too,
Yeah.
that you showcased. So what's this piece again? What's that specifically?
So this is the dash. So
Okay.
this would be the front where the
Where all the gauges, yeah.
Yeah, and this is
Okay.
what we'd be looking at. So what we did was we redesigned and changed the angle of the mounting point because before it was at a 45, so it brought it up like that, and it was probably about this thick. So this brought it down and made it a lot thinner. So we didn't even have to change the gauges at all. We kept the original part from the factory.
If you want to get a piece like that done, I mean, I assume before this, the most traditional way would be to like CNC it, right? And
I actually looked everywhere to see if anybody made it. I could only find one person who made an aftermarket dash for it, and it was carbon fiber, and it was hundreds and hundreds of dollars, and I couldn't even get it if I wanted to pay that much for it.
Yeah.
But there really wasn't any other outlet except for to print it on here, and whenever we printed it, it turned out so gorgeous that we actually didn't want to take it anywhere or sand it down or anything because we really liked the texture of it. It fit with the rest of the bike.
Yeah, it looks amazing. Yeah. Especially like the shots we got in the video. I'm just like, it looks incredible.
Since filming, we actually got first place with that bike at the IMS show in Dallas. We took home.
No way.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. Congrats. I mean, you're doing some amazing stuff. Yeah, that's just cool. I mean, I love stories like this specifically, just because, you know, obviously there's like heart behind why you started it, and there's like heart in a lot of the products that you're actually building, and people that are using it for that. I mean, we always talk about inspiring the passion within people with 3D printers, and it's like obviously very true in you that you do a lot of this because you're passionate about it, not only for you but your family as well.
It was cool. Interesting. Usually when I go to the show every year, I get questions about the bikes that we did, like how'd you do this and how'd you do this. I've never had so many people ask me about the dash and the 3D printing and how we did it and where we could get them. So that was kind of cool to see that a product that, you know, we bought a couple of years ago is, you know, taking effect this big in the industry that nobody's really heard of or done it yet.
Yeah.
So that was really cool.
Yeah, you're definitely an early adopter here, and most people haven't ventured into the 3D printing realm yet when in terms of making like production ready parts. So it's cool to kind of see you taking the step that direction and hopefully inspiring more people to do that.
Oh yeah,
because we'd love to see obviously like pieces like custom pieces being able to be made. And I think that's one of the biggest benefits of 3D printing is like, and it's perfect for what you do, is like creating one-off custom pieces. We always talk about, most people are like, oh, is this going to change manufacturing as a whole? I mean, it's not very likely you're going to be printing off thousands of pieces on these 3D printers, but when you're creating custom one-off pieces, like you can, I mean, it's pretty much limitless on what you can actually do. So it's cool to see you using it for that. And what other pieces besides that dash, is there other pieces that you've actually made?
Ross has made a bunch of things. It was actually kind of funny. He's made a lot of upgraded parts for his original printer that it's like he got another printer all over again because he was so excited he can make all these changes, kind of make it his own. So he's like customizing the printer. But we make like, you know, the kickstands on motorcycles. They're just these plates. I was gonna bring it, but it's stuck under a bike right now.
That's all good. I think, is that the file we're uploading or something?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, cool. So we're going to have this file. You can upload it or download it and you can print it out. So that's going to be pretty sweet. It's the first time we've done this. You actually designed that.
I designed it, and Ross taught me how to use the software and everything because I'm good with my hands and he's really good with the computer stuff. And that's why I got it from him in the first place. And he's like, you want to learn how to do this? I was like, yes.
I remember when we filmed the video, I watched all the footage, and it was it sounded, you're more like me, like the mastermind behind a lot of things. And is it Ross, right? Ross was the one that
Yes.
actually kind of took your ideas and brought them to life, if you will.
Yeah.
And so it's cool now that you're venturing into
it was magic
developing
to me. I felt
Yeah.
like a big girl because I actually got to learn how to do something myself. And so what it is, it's just like kick
Once you
place.
use it, it doesn't take, it's not like too crazy, huh? Once you actually dive into it.
You know, I was nervous. I mean, anything I learn from scratch is, you know, I get nervous because I have learning disabilities and I'm a very hands-on person. So, you know, I'm always watching him doing stuff. And I was like, oh, can you change this a little bit? And like, but I never knew how he did it. And then he just got out of the way, let me take over. And then he kind of explained it to me. And because I got to do it myself, that's how I was able to learn exactly how you do it. And it's, going from watching him print something, like that's a crazy experience, and then actually learning how to do it myself, that was just like another level to this whole process that opened my eyes to new possibilities.
I'm stoked for you to actually dive into that realm too. It's going to be fun to see you like create more stuff. What is, you know, we were able to capture a little bit of footage of your father. What does he think about the whole 3D printing thing?
You know, it was actually his idea from the very beginning for me to see if we can get a 3D printer as a gift for him a couple years ago.
Okay, nice.
He's more nerdy than he thinks and lets on that he is. He loves technology, he loves modern stuff, but he doesn't like to use it. He respects it and appreciates it, and just he's always been into sci-fi. So the fact that we're able to actually click a button and it prints this 3D object that we can now use in real life, it's just he loves it so much.
That's cool.
He doesn't really care to learn how to do it. He just tells us what he wants printed.
Yeah, but it's still cool to kind of, I mean, I don't know. I think about this with my family, and you know, they haven't even really seen the evolution of 3D printing happen. So to kind of be a part of that experience with them has always been, in a weird way, like magical. Yeah. Because they start to see it and they go, oh my God, they start getting a lot of ideas. I wish I had this when I was younger, blah, blah, blah. And so I bet it was cool to kind of see that and actually make custom parts with him and use them in the motorcycle. So
yeah, now he's giving us a bunch of lists of stuff that we need to start drawing up and making.
Yeah, nice. What's the next plans for GT-Moto? Where do you plan on taking it? Is there anything? Are you guys kind of going to stick on your route you're on now, or are you guys going to try and expand into like developing more parts, or where are you going to go?
Definitely. Like I said, my dad has a bunch of lists of things that, you know, he's been really frustrated over the years with stuff that, you know, it doesn't realistically make sense to make it by hand because the time that it takes and the problem that it solves is just not, it doesn't make sense. So he's made a list of things that we want to start drawing up and printing just to show our customers and be like, look, this is what we can do with this specific part, and we can incorporate this on your bike, and you know, we could do it in-house, and you don't have to pay this crazy amount of money for us to get it CNC'd or take it to a machine shop, because we don't even have a mill ourselves, and so there's a lot of things we can't do yet until we expect, which will be down the road.
We talk about that a lot, like in like high level terms. We call it like the democratization of craftsmanship, which is pretty much like 3D printing allows you to kind of simply learn a program online, and then all of a sudden you can design things that, for most people, if they're not a skilled craftsman, they're not going to be able to make. If they don't have like these specific expensive like tools, they're not going to be able to make it. So being able to just kind of design it, learn a computer program, like by taking a course or going and watching YouTube videos and then designing your own and then pressing print from the machine, letting the magic happen, is like, it gives everyone the power to design and create custom parts. You know,
if we do solve a problem, the custom motorcycle scene is really like the old mentality of old hot rods and stuff back in the day. So everybody helps everybody. So if one of us knows how to do something better, then we don't mind passing around that knowledge, because it's such a small community and we do all need each other. And one great thing is that with this, if we solve a problem that a lot of people need, all we have to do is share a file. They can pick their own printer, print it out, and, you know, problem solved.
That's the beauty of the industry, is this open source, everyone kind of sharing things and helping each other out be successful with the machines. And so that's actually a really, really good point. Yeah. And I hope to see it kind of affect a lot of industries, like, you know, obviously motorcycle is one, but there's tons of other industries where 3D printing can be like beneficial. And, you know, Jay Leno was kind of the proponent of like automotive 3D printing, and the guy that was kind of leading that charge and you know, people such as Sofi is leading the, you know, the motorcycle and that type of stuff. So hopefully we start to see a lot more of this.
Yeah, you definitely will. I mean, there's no way that this will just disappear. I mean, it's not like an old chocolate, you know, coming to sell.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, this is just going to keep getting better and better, which is awesome.
So I have one last question. You know, I assume, you know, the industry that you're in is very male dominated. Do you just, you're like one of the most badass chicks I've met. I mean, you're just crushing it, making these custom motorcycles. And, but you're also like seeing, I don't know, what's the scene like, kind of designing these custom motorcycles?
It's a really hard question to answer, because there's so many answers for that question. It really depends on what part of the industry that you're in, because, you know, I started off as being one of the only females that I know in the industry, and being a mechanic and going to school for all that. I was one out of 6 women, and I was also one out of, you know, 2 women that actually did anything with it, whereas everybody else, it's like, you know, they didn't. It's really hard to make money in this industry. You know, I wish I knew all this a long time ago before I started. I feel like I would have done things different, but like, who doesn't have that issue? But women it went from a very tiny percentage all the way up to, I think it's almost like 20% of the industry is now women, which that sounds low, but it's not. There isn't a single event that I go to now where I'm the only woman. There are just as many women in these shows coming up as there are men. But that's riders. Now, there's a handful of women that are builders, and they, you know, paved, you know, the road for a lot of women coming in the industry now. And, you know, they're some of my best friends. And I, you know, encourage anybody, like one of the girls that the first female that I built a bike for, she is now building her first custom motorcycle. So it's really great to just see where the industry is going, and it's not cutthroat anymore. It's not sexist. It definitely used to be, and I've definitely had a lot of issues with that, but it hasn't been like that for me for the last few years.
And the reason why I asked that specifically was because even like technology users, I mean, we do surveys all the time, and 95% of our users are male. So to see people such as yourself, I mean, you're inspiring women to use technology, to get into a field that they might not normally be interested in. And so that's why I was like asking how it is kind of entering a field that isn't normally, you know, female populated, if you will.
It's very, I mean, this technology that you guys are providing is just as intimidating as learning how to ride a motorcycle for the first time for anybody, you know, not just females, but also men. But the great thing about your product is that your product inspired me to learn how to do it. It wasn't another female, you know, I feel like this product is so unique and so great and so easy that's inspiring in itself. Whereas like, you don't need someone like me to go out there and tell women they can do it. Like, this product is great. They just need to see what we can do with it, basically.
Yeah. I appreciate it. You guys are the one, honestly, every time I do these interviews, you like, all the people I talk to are the ones that actually inspire me and make me want to work harder and like make me want to build better products. Because I mean, the story isn't Robo making 3D printers. The story is like the people using the 3D printers to carry out some of the things that they're doing. And so I don't know, it's amazing seeing your story. I'm so glad we got to capture it.
Yeah.
For anyone that's watching this, or, you know, have any questions for Sofi, feel free to put them below, and we'll ask her, and we'll reach out and we'll find the answers and give you the answers. But also, please go watch our video. It's on our YouTube channel. I think right now we're live on it. We pushed it live not too long ago. So go check it out. You can just search GT-Moto or just go on our channel. You'll see it on there. I think we captured your story pretty well. You have some great videos, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so keep doing what you're doing. I am excited to follow your journey. Hopefully we see some more amazing stuff. Congrats on everything. Do you have any shout outs you want to give before we get off?
My dad.
Shout out to your pops.
My pops.
The inspiration behind GT-Moto.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm glad we got to get a couple of his words in there too in the video. So it was good to hear that as well.
You guys are the only people on the planet that have ever gotten anything like that, by the way.
That's what I hear. So I'm honored to have gotten that. So thank you.
Yeah, I love.
All right. Well, I appreciate you. Yeah, I appreciate you coming on. This has been awesome. Thanks for sharing some of your story. Wish you the best of success, and thanks for being an amazing customer.
Thank you.
All right.